Welcome, race fans, to the New Smyrna Speedway in New Smyrna, Florida. This is Andrew Cardinale with Pit Stop TV. Alongside of me, I've got Brennan Elshoff and Zach Lindgren. And, guys, it's race number 2 of the PSI TV Super Series and the NMNTS Racing Series. And, we're at New Smyrna. We could make some Robbie Buckner jokes, but we'll refrain from that for now, as he's not racing, so we don't get to beat up on him too much. But guys, we're in New Smyrna, Florida for the second race of the season. First time for the season on PSI TV, as last week I was actually right around New Smyrna in Daytona for the NASCAR events. Zach, what are your expectations here tonight?
Close door-to-door racing, man. That's all I can really expect. I mean, we got out there a few times running these cars, extremely tight around each corner. The bottom line seems to be the way to go for right now, so we're going to see a lot of jostling for position, especially on restarts. So be looking forward to some really good racing tonight.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. You know, as you guys were talking about in practice, you were watching some guys just go up and pretty much slam the wall and have to pull out the backup cars. So, Brennan, would your expectations differ, if any, from Zach's?
No, I'd say it's pretty much. I have to agree with what he says. The only other thing I'd note here is obviously we're short tracks. That's what the league's all about here. So definitely should see a lot of close, tight racing the whole night. I don't think anyone will really pull too far away here. The field's not really separated by too much time from nose to tail, so should be a fun one.
Yeah, last year in the NMNTS ARCA series, this race was, I mean, there were plenty of cautions. That's kind of the nature of this place on iRacing. You know, it's not somewhere that people get to race all the time. And so when leagues or even the official series do come here, it's kind of just a crapshoot. There's a lot of wrecks, and that's just kind of synonymous with short track racing on iRacing. But then again, you have the leagues like the Virtual Oval Championship that you guys have both helped me call, which are just clean and green the whole way pretty much. Very, very few cautions over in that league. And so, you know, we'll see what these guys can do tonight. Obviously, a lot of them already have a lot of races around each other under their belts, but this is the start of a new season. The only other race in this season was at 5 Flags, and again, we couldn't call that. But that's another one of these tracks that's really bumpy, really tight, really fast, and you know, just one of these tracks, I guess, is going to promote really close and possibly a lot of wrecks in the racing tonight. But you know, you've got guys like Michael Redding, Tyler Justice, Joe Pritchett, Corey Walters even going out there putting their cars in the top 4 so far, the front 2 rows of the grid, and just going fast, turning left. And you know, they have a lot of races under their belt with each other. So we might see some really good racing up front as a polar opposite to last season. We'll have to wait and see. But I will go ahead and go through our. Sorry, if I can actually get to the right place here. We'll be going through the current results here tonight. If I can actually, let's see, that's up there. Alrighty, so as qualifying is taking place, you can see Michael Redding so far on the pole. Tyler Justice, his teammate, right behind him. Joe Pritchett in 3rd. Brennan, what can you tell us about the rest of the top 10?
Alrighty, 4th place we have Corey Walters, followed by Aiden Young in 5th. 6th is going to go to Kelsey Rogers at the moment. 7th to Mike Bruno. Coming in 8th is Alan Westman. 9th going to Clayton Kurtz. And rounding out the top 10 for now is Riley Wilson. Hand it over to you, Zach.
All right, well, picking up from 10th, we're going to have last year's defending champion in the ARCA series, not in these cars in particular, Terry Mason. 12th would be David Heise. 13th will be Joseph Vanduar. 14th would be Kenny Yance. 15th would be Jesse Mason. 16th, Jason Burgess. 17th, Derek Robinson. 18th would be Kenneth Yance. 19th would be Daniel Hauser. And rounding out our top 20 will be Gordon Larson Jr.
And in 21st currently is Jason Alexander. 22nd goes to Kyle Willis at the moment. Currently, that's all the cars that have qualified. You'll see PSI TV, myself, well, that is myself, Zach Lindgren, and Brennan Elshoff on the results here. We are not racing, obviously. Robbie Buckner is also not racing. He'll be the admin tonight, and I believe for the rest of the season. Jared Beasley, however, I believe should be in attendance. Not sure why he hasn't put down a lap. And it's the same story for guys like Joe Lawrence and Jerry Glenn. But we could have as many as 25 cars, guys. That's actually a pretty good field. So, you know, this series obviously has its footing with the rest of the NMNTS and in the NMNTS ARCA series last year, but going over the super late models, this series wasn't really expected to fill up. Yeah, it's kind of cool to see all these cars here. Well, Brendan, if you can help me out here, I can't see how much time these guys have left, but actually, Brendan or Zach, one of you guys can help me out there.
Just got to 7 minutes here out of 20. I do believe we're just going to do the 10 minutes, though, and have time for interviews, I believe.
Yeah, sounds like these guys are setting it up like we talked about in the off-season. So, we'll get to actually bring in a few guys to help go over how this race should go. That should be, well, we'll start off actually with Michael Redding, our current pole sitter, assuming that he holds on to the pole position. I'm not sure anyone else is actually going to get out onto the track, so we're going to bring Michael up. And Zach, I'll let you take it away.
Alrighty. Michael Redding, this is Zach up here in the PSI TV booth. You got a copy?
Go ahead, go ahead.
Alrighty, well, I think you have one of the most experienced minds in these cars. As you're sitting pole position right now in front of your teammate Tyler Justice, tell us what you're feeling with the car right now, what you're feeling with the track. Pretty much tell us what's going on.
Car feels good. The more wear on this track gets, the better it gets as far as me driving it. I've always had a lot of success here at New Smyrna, but other than that, man, it just feels good. I'm loving it right now.
Heck yeah, you're showing that you do love it out here right now, sitting on pole 3 thousandths in front of your teammate. Going back to what I said about you having experience, I don't believe you have experience in these cars in particular, but you do have short track experience. Are you trying to take that from there to here, or what's going on mentally right now?
I've got a lot of experience in these cars. I used to run these full time for a long, long time. This is basically all I ever did was run super late models. But man, we're just gonna attack this race like all the other ones I do. Try to stay out front, stay out of trouble, win this thing.
Heck yeah, brother. We're rooting for you. You're my pick for tonight. I don't know if we're picking anybody yet, but you're my pick already for tonight. But before we let you go, before the race starts, you got anybody you want to thank? You got anybody you want to shout out?
Yeah, I wanna thank everybody on my team. Want to thank BA Graphics for the awesome paint scheme, and definitely want to say thanks to Rock Hard Powder Coating.
Heck yeah, bud. Well, like I said, we're rooting for you up here. Good luck in the race tonight.
Appreciate it, Zach.
And next up, we're going to bring in defending Sunday night champion in the NMNTS Racing Series, Terry Mason. Again, as we mentioned, these guys ran in the K&N cars, or pretty much the ARCA cars, here on iRacing, and they ran at a lot of the same tracks that you'll see this season. A few bigger tracks, so we'll actually see a higher emphasis on short tracks this season as opposed to in 2017. But still a very, very similar, I guess, aspect to the series, and we're going to bring him up. It's going to be, again, Terry Mason, the number 75, keeping his number, keeping his team, of course, moving into 2018. And let's start the season off right, talking to our defending champion. Terry Mason, this is Andrew Cardinale in the PSI TV booth. Do you have a copy?
Got you loud and clear, Andrew. How you doing?
Well, Terry, we caught the last couple of races in the ARCA series last year on Pit Stop TV, and it was just crazy to see you walk away with that at the end, really. No wins in 2017, but you did end up getting the championship. Do you think you can back that up this season, and how do you want to start your season off here tonight? Obviously, there was last week at Five Flags, but first race for us here at New Smyrna.
Yeah, well, I'd like to start 2018 off with a win, you know, kind of something I didn't get in 2017. Yeah, I'm definitely running for the Super Late Model Championship. Secret in this is going to be car clean, I think everything will work out.
Sounds good, man. Well, your mic is breaking up a little bit, but we'll try and talk to you some more. You know, you've got your number 75 Right Racing machine currently in, I think, 11th in qualifying, so that's obviously a good start to the night. How are you going to attack these 150 grueling laps around New Smyrna? This is a very awkward track, and around a lot of other cars, it's not a walk in the park by any means. So, what's your plan to attack this thing tonight?
Plan is, you run too hard, you can definitely wear out your right sides, and since we can only take one pit stop at halfway, I'm just gonna kind of let everyone burn their tires out and see if I can't just catch them.
Sounds good, man. We'll let you go. It was good talking to you going into the 2018 season, but before they actually let you go, Zach, Brennan, you guys have anything for Terry Mason?
No, you pretty much covered it. Actually, there was one thing I did want to ask though. Like last year, you pretty much ran extremely solid, not trying to get into anything. Like you said, really conservative. Is that one of your strategies tonight? Is to play it conservative, keep the tires fresh, keep them as best as you can?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it definitely worked out last year, and this is a long season, so I think if I can just car one piece, finish the races with decent finishes, I think I'll be looking good.
Heck yeah, buddy.
All right.
Sounds good. Well, Terry, you have a great night out there tonight at New Smyrna. Going to be a lot of fun watching you pilot at number 75 tonight. Anything else you want to say before we get this race going?
No, I'm definitely looking forward to the green flag, and hopefully I'll be pulling into victory lane at the end of the night.
Sounds great, man. We'll move you back down, and best of luck out there.
All right, I appreciate it.
Again, that was your defending series champion, or at least as close as you can get, Terry Mason, who won the Sunday Night Championship in the NMNTS last season. Again, in different cars, but on a lot of the same tracks, guys. And I think that experience is going to play key for some of these guys. Obviously, being on a simulator like this, experience isn't necessarily measured in relativity to a league, how long they've been in a league, but it is always good to have experience around the same kind of drivers. So, where Michael Redding and Tyler Justice have been racing here for, really years now, I think, as opposed to Kyle Willis, who is brand new. That experience, I think, is going to be what comes into play the most at these racetracks, considering you're up close and personal with each and every driver throughout these pretty grueling races. And again, like Terry mentioned, only one pit stop, only one set of tires that these guys get to take tonight. Obviously, you can come in for, I believe you can come in for fuel before, and you can come in for damage, obviously. If you need to fix damage, you can fix that at any time. But you can't take tires at any time other than the halfway break, which should come at lap 75 tonight, guys.
Yeah, and it's a really interesting rule to not take any tires until lap 75, which is going to force most of these guys' hands to really conserve their stuff, really conserve their tires. So we're going to see who's pushing it the most coming towards the start of the race, in the middle of the run, and coming towards the end of the run. But look for those drivers that were kind of staying in the back, conserving some stuff. Look for them to be up front coming down towards the end.
Yeah, and sorry, I was communicating with race control there for a second, making sure we're all on the same page. But yeah, this rule where you can only take the one set of tires is really unique to very few series, be it on iRacing or in real life. I've only heard of it, I believe, in, I think it was the Hooters Cup Series they used to call it. It was super late models like this, and they went all across, I believe, Midwest and the South. And they only took one set of tires at the halfway break. I think that's where they got this rule from. My whole my knowledge of that is a bit fuzzy, but I believe that's where this comes from. So it'll be interesting to see how it affects the race tonight. Brendan, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, definitely. I've seen some races where it's mandatory that you take tires, but as you mentioned, I think there's only the one series that I've seen where you're only allowed to take one. I know some of the ARCA tracks and that they make you at least take one set of them. So yeah, it really dictates how you can drive the car, get a caution or something right before the break. Do you push it all out and see how many positions you can get and work your way through the pit stop, try and get a quick stop and get out in the lead and then coast your way home there, or do you wait, you have your second set and then really push for all you got and just try and work through the positions maybe in the first half? So there's a couple different options that you have out there, I'd say, to really It just depends on what strategy you want to roll. As we saw, Terry wants to try and kind of roll around the back, let everybody else push a little hard, and then he'll come through. So definitely, I think, a couple different options for you tonight on how you want to run your race.
Yeah, definitely. There's all kinds of options to every race, obviously. Like, even in the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series race at Atlanta earlier today, those guys were, the whole third stage of that race was all talk about, how many pit stops you were going to make in the end, and it ended up coming down to a caution that totally messed it all up anyways, so it really didn't matter a whole lot. So anything can happen. It's all about how these guys actually attack the race once we actually get going. Again, 150 laps tonight. It's going to be a long haul for these guys, and it's only the start of a very long 2018 season. And they come back, and they're going to be racing in Atlanta tomorrow night in the SimSpec Truck Series, and then again Tuesday night in the BA Graphics Cup Series. This same group of guys, pretty much, will be racing 3 nights a week for most of 2018, if not all of 2018. So there is certainly a long-haul aspect to this league in general, all 3 series that we'll have the privilege of covering on PSI TV. And real quick, before these guys get going, want to welcome everybody to the stream. We've got a few guys, be it on YouTube or on Twitch or on Facebook, our main platform, be it in the chat, chatting it up, or just watching, and it's nice to see everybody come out. And I don't see anyone in the chat really on YouTube yet, but welcome to the stream. Same to Twitch. And over in Facebook land, we've got Jared Bashan and Corey Walters saying, what's up, and nice to have you back, and I appreciate that, guys. And Jackson Allen also in the chat. And we'll be rolling over. I'll give you the top 10 here, Zach, for the grid.
Alrighty, well, as we get ready to grid here, Michael Redding will be our pole sitter tonight, as we talked to him a little while ago. Tyler Justice will be starting to his outside. Joe Perchette right behind Michael Redding. Corey Walters will be starting P4. Aiden Young will round out the top 5. Kelsey Rogers will be 6th. Mike T. Bruno will be 7th. Alan Westman will be 8th. Clayton Kurtz 9th. And rounding out our top 10 will be Bradley P. Wilson.
In 11th, we'll have Terry Mason, our defending champion, in 11th, in the number 75. Sorry, I totally blanked. David Heise in the number 711 will be to his outside in 12th. The New York driver, Joseph Andujar, the 3rd, will be starting 13th in the number 13. Kenny Yance will be starting 14th tonight. In 15th, we'll have Jesse Mason. To his outside will be Jason Burgess. In the 9th row, we'll have Derek Robinson and Kenneth Yance. Derek Robinson will be piloting the number 818. In 19th, we'll have Daniel Hosser, a newcomer to the NMNTS, and Gordon Larson Jr., last year's Tuesday night champion. To you, Brennan.
Alrighty, and I guess I got the short straw here. We have Jason Alexander starting 21st, 22nd going to Kyle Willis. And I think Jared Beasley may possibly get to race. I don't know if maybe he missed the driver's meeting. He is gridded up. And that's it.
And that may have also been a choice by Jared Beasley to go ahead and start in the back. It's something we see from time to time. Just, wanting to control his destiny. Go to the back at the start and just ride around, try and miss the first few wrecks. And, these races are a deal of attrition, so that could just be his choice there to go to the back. But as these guys get ready to roll off the grid, again, we are in New Smyrna, Florida. Don't mind the Quaker State 400 in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, but just want to show you we are in New Smyrna in case you didn't believe me for whatever reason. And we are, again, at a little short track, 0.485 miles. Track temp is 81 degrees here tonight. Obviously, it's a 4-corner oval, just like normal. And let's see, heading on over to the weather. It is just 81 degrees across the board, 59% humidity, and it is overcast here in Florida tonight. Zach, I know you already picked Michael Redding to win this race, so Brendan, who's your pick?
I'm gonna have to go out there for Terry Mason. I'd say I think he did really well in the ARCA cars, and I think he's a pretty good driver when it comes to these as well. So it seems like he had the strategy picked out. I think he'll be one to look out for at the end of the night.
Sounds good. Well, I think I have to go with the guy to Michael Redding's outside, Tyler Justice. And I know that's kind of a cliche pick at this point in the NMNTS Racing Series, but I mean, come on, it's Tyler Justice. I don't know how you can bet against him, really, even at a place like this where he might be a little bit out of his comfort zone. It's Tyler Justice, guys. So he's my pick, I think, tonight in that SimSpec Chevrolet in Monte Carlo. We'll see how he does. These guys are getting ready for the green. I'll give the call to you, Brennan.
Okay, mention we have Joe Portret stuck in the pits, I believe, here, so get ready to go. Everybody's still shuffling in the back here. And the green is out, so some people missed it. Michael Redding with a good jump here. Tyler Justice is outside as they go into turn 1. Justice with the nose ahead, but Michael's going to have the momentum on the bottom side. Keep him even. Justice with the pole almost completely ahead there, though.
Yeah, Tyler Justice trying to work that top line. He's trying to set it up there like Kyle Larson, high, wide, and handsome. He makes it work. The momentum out of turn 4 on the top side gets him the lead by a couple of car lengths even. Now here comes Aiden Young, Zach.
Yeah, and one of the bad advantages when racing against Tyler.
Oh, a big wreck in the back. I'm sorry.
You're all right.
Jason Burgess involved, and we're not slowing down. A big wreck in the back.
818, 51, yeah, a bunch of guys collecting that one.
Clayton Kurtz stuck in the top of turn 3. Sorry, not ton 3, dear Lord. Yeah, a bunch of guys messed up. You see Bradley Wilson dog walking back to the pits. He already is pretty much done for the night. He'll be in the pits for a while.
Started with Corey Walters there.
So as we pull up this replay, let's get it going here. All right, so we'll be going all the way back to Corey Walters. He started in the 4th position, I believe, and you can see him falling back on the outside line, not making it work quite as well as Aiden Young and Tyler Justice were. So he had fallen back to right behind the 19, actually. And he actually got into the wall at turn 2 and ended up sliding back up in front of Clayton Kurtz. Just got stuck in the wall. You see guys I mean, honestly, they didn't check up. I don't know any other way to say it. They just didn't check up. And, you know, the first couple of guys, understandable, they don't have enough time. But these guys have to be more careful. You know, these races, these wrecks, they stack up really quick. So they got to be a lot more careful for the rest of these 150 laps to check up quicker.
It definitely, unfortunately, as you mentioned, that's just a great way to pack in a couple race cars, and that's going to end a lot of guys' night so far. Just not being quite his heads up to what's going on ahead of you.
What do you think here, Zach?
Well, it's just it's kind of harsh for some of those guys. I mean, you know, it's really hard to get slowed down, and these things, excuse me, are kind of heavy. So it is hard for them to get loaded up. Might have wheel hopped a little bit, but yeah, they just got to be prepared for pileups like that. This is a really narrow track, even though it looks wider. It's extremely narrow, so these guys just got to be ready and prepared for whatever might happen in front of them. Just sucks for some of those guys that got taken out early. I mean, we're only in lap 2, and some of their guys are already packing up and getting ready for next week.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm most disappointed about is, you know, we already have guys like Bradley Wilson having to sit aside and, you know, head over to the hauler and just be totally done. I mean, they have no other choice. They're done at least for probably, you know, 10, 20 minutes while the crew fixes that car, if not for the night. I'm sure some guys will probably be done for the night, call it there, and just pack on up. I'm not sure where we're headed to next week. I think possibly the Bull Ring at Las Vegas, but up in the front, we still have Tyler Justice, Michael Redding on the front row. This time in a different sequence. Zach, it is your call for the start.
Alrighty, well, as the pace car gets ready to take another hard left turn here, we get ready to go. Tyler Justice steps on it with Michael Redding to his outside. Mike T. Bruno tries to get clear of Aiden Young for third. He will, as Michael Redding and Tyler Justice stays even coming out of turn 2. Michael Redding almost touches the wall, but these guys are even down into turn 3.
Yeah, Michael Redding couldn't make that number 2 work the top side quite as well as his teammate Tyler Justice did on the previous start. Mike Bruno now files into 3rd place. Evil Outlaw has taken home the top 3 so far, but it's only lap 9. Brennan, what are you seeing further back?
A little bit further back, we had the 818 of Derek Robinson with some damage running the high side, kind of slowing guys down a little bit here, but kind of taking it too wide. Everybody else is so far. Oh, the 3 around sideways, 13 to lose. Get it back around. He a little bit of a bump underneath him there. We're 3 wide on the back stretch now. Oh, looks like we're gonna be good. The 77 running way wide.
Oh,
Easy
gets
sends him
collected
around.
by the 15. All right, man, talking it out, talking
Gordon
it out.
Larson Jr. also involved. You saw it happen there live, folks. It was the 15, Jared Beasley, that tagged the number 77 of Kenny Yachts as he was racing with his father, Ken. And you can see the aftermath. Kenny Yachts with a lot of rear damage to that number 77. He already had some right front damage. Now you can see the whole back end just wadded up. And that U.S. Army machine is already looking worse for wear.
These cars are extremely durable, so we're gonna have to see if he's able to get back out there and try to run it with the damage. But it's gonna be extremely hard to handle now that it does have damage.
Yeah, luckily it looked like most of that damage was actually cosmetic. I don't think it's going to affect the handling too much, which is actually really good for him. I think the worst of his damage that would have affected the handling, I think, actually came to the right front on the previous caution. So I think those two hits that he got were just to the body. You know, these cars have really large quarter panels and just rear ends in general, so there's a lot of crumple zone back there. So I think he got away with that one for now. But you know, the next time that kind of thing happens, he might not be so lucky. And I want to mention real quick, tonight's pit road is sponsored by DiscountShopTowels.com. You can head over to them for all your discount shop towels needs, really, at DiscountShopTowels.com, and we'll pop their logo up real quick. Okay. One moment, it got stretched. That is my apologies. Okay, we're going to fix that. So there you go, you can see Discount Shop Towels on your screen now.
Race control's kind of issuing for some of these guys to just kind of settle in, try to get into a line. We were single file there for just a little bit, but as the 2x2 racing got going, some of these guys are still trying to get accustomed to the line and the track, and obviously that wreck happened. So race control's handing down a cool it to these guys pretty much right now.
Sounds good. Well, these guys should be getting ready for the restart. Is that right?
No, we still have lights on.
Okay, I thought we were going...
I believe we're taking the 2 to go.
All right, yeah, we are. So, we're going to have one more lap. Once again, guys, make sure to check out DiscountShopTowels.com. They do sponsor quite a bit here in the NMNTS, along with a couple of cars over at WFO Motorsports. Almost said Motor Speedway. That would have been awkward. So, yeah, definitely check them out. And I believe there is a promo code. I'll try and get that from Brad here in a moment. But the top 5 so far actually is kind of surprising. The first 4, I think, is actually pretty warranted in here in the NMNTS at this point. Tyler Justice, Michael Redding, Mike Bruno, and Aiden Young. But the newcomer to that top 5 is going to be Kelsey Rogers in the 5th place in the Firehouse Subs number 36. He's got Alan Westman to his outside, but it's cool to see Kelsey Rogers up in the front. He's a new guy to the league, so cool to see early success for that number 36. And we'll see how it goes for him on this restart. Tyler Justice coming out of turn 4 this time. And he is on the loud pedal. Green flag back in the air, Brendan.
Yep. It's good lead for him. He's completely clear of Michael Redding behind him. And I think he's just going to do his thing here. Yep, Michael Redding to try the inside, I think maybe into 3. Does. Just give him plenty of room, and he's going to start pulling away here. I think Tyler's just going to maybe take off here. Is he several car lengths ahead now?
Yeah, you saw Michael Redding with the crossover out of turn 2 a lap ago. It didn't work out for him. He was trying to play it a little too easy. Didn't keep his nose underneath the 7 of Tyler Justice. Now the 7 of Tyler Justice starting to pull away, actually, getting a pretty decent lead over his teammates here, Zach.
Yeah, and looking a little further back here, I'm looking with the battle between Alan Westman and Kelsey Rogers. These guys have been going at it ever since the drop of the green flag. The 17 of Alan Westman actually able to prevail on the high side. It looks like the high side might be coming in just a little bit over that bottom line. Alan Westman was able to get to the outside of Kelsey Rogers, battle Kelsey for just a little bit, and take that 5th position away. So it's going to be interesting to see if we have drivers try to stick it on the bottom or try to get up a little bit higher into the middle groove to see if their cars can work around it here a little bit.
Yeah, you know, and I think a big reason as to why we're seeing these guys work the top side so well is these cars are, you know, they have 2 controls basically, and those 2 controls are the steering wheel and the brake, because you're pretty much flat out otherwise. And I think the reason they're able to use that top side so effectively is that you can just turn in and use that brake to get the front end to set and effectively loosen the car up for a half a second, get the nose pointed down the track for the exit of the corner and power off, and they're actually keeping the momentum up through, be it turn 2 or turn 4, whichever one it may be at the time. And it's working for a lot of these guys. That's how Tyler Justice got the lead here, Zach.
Yeah, and it just depends on how hard you get into the corner too. If you underdrive the corner, it just gives all the advantage to the person that's below you because you don't have the drive off, and if you overdrive it again, you don't have the drive off. So you've really got to be pitch perfect if you do want to pass it on the high side. And so far, some of these guys are kind of going up, experimenting with it a little bit. I've seen drivers back here, drivers like Craig Lehrman and Kyle Willis, Joe Burchett, and Kenneth Yance back here. They were trying it here a little bit, and it looks like they kind of settled out down to the low line now. But some of these guys are starting to experiment here a little.
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead, Brennan.
Yeah, definitely. I have to agree. I'd say some of this too is how the people are trying to go through the tires right now. We're at lap 25, so not quite the tire break. We're about a third, wow, excuse me. Not quite even a sixth of the way there. That's what I was looking for. But some of these guys, I think, are just pushing a little harder than others, trying to get their lead. I think that's maybe what Tyler did right there, just to secure his pole position or his lead, excuse me. And then he just has kind of backed it down a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. And as I go a little further back through the field, we're looking currently at the 16th and 15th position battle here between Jared Beasley and Joseph Andrew. Actually, now Jared Beasley going to move into 14th as he gets by Kenny Yance. So Kenny Yance now will try and defend the 15th position from Joseph Andujar in the Millennium Aviation number 13. And actually, Corey Walters' motor lets go right in the bottom of the screen there. So you saw that for a brief moment. He was just trying to pace around, actually. I think he just gotten back on the track.
Yeah, he just pulled back out. That sucks to see for him. The 51's going to bring it right back in, too. He was in and right back out. Or came out and goes right back in, excuse me.
Clayton Kurtz is kind of doing the same thing right now, just trying to make laps in that number 8 discount shop towels machine. And yeah, that's the number 82, Daniel Hosser.
About caught the 43 there, too. 43 tried to squeeze him.
It looks like he's going to try and get that car back into the racing line now behind the robot chicken machine, actually, of Jason Alexander. He's going to keep going for now, but he's got a lot of damage to that number 82 from a couple of cautions ago. Actually, Jared Beasley just cleaned him out.
Oh. All right, man. Caution is out. Caution's out again for the third time tonight, as it looks like Jared Beasley did catch the 82 of Daniel Hauser. Yeah, and it looks like Jared Beasley's night might also be done. He is smoking on the infield, might be trying to get it to get turned around, but he is smoking.
Yeah, I think right now he's waiting for the field to go by before he swings the car out wide to get restarted here. We should see him. Yeah, we'll see him turn around now, or at least try to.
Not quite, yeah.
Yep, now he's going to opt to escape and just take the towing penalty. But yeah, the 15 with a lot of damage there. We'll go back and get a look at it from Jared Beasley's on board. So we'll see exactly what he was seeing as the 82 was slow ahead, and he had to try and navigate around it. So this is the onboard from the Extreme Lawn Care number 15. And I want to note real quickly, as we watch the replay of what brought this third caution of the night out at lap 33, what I just heard while going on board with the number 15, and what everyone at home can hear, is these guys are downshifting in the corners. It's kind of unprecedented to me, but at least in turns 3 and 4, these guys are downshifting. And, it's not totally unheard of on short tracks, but it's kind of odd that they would be tonight. But Zach and Brennan, you guys ran some laps. What do you think of that?
It makes sense to try to get some lift off the corner so you can try to get some momentum down, but I didn't try it personally when we were down there on the track kind of testing it. More power to them, I guess, if they're finding success in it, able to get out of the corners with more power and more speed, more power to them, but I don't know. It's just going to be all up to them, I guess.
Yeah, it's really interesting to hear these guys, going to the gears at a place like New Smyrna. I can understand why they get the extra RPMs to the rear wheels. They can maybe get a little bit of wheel spin and actually point the front end down the track and actually get a better corner exit. It's kind of weird to talk about, but it works at the same time. So, Brennan, I know you're more well versed, I guess, in dirt, but we've actually even done that we've tried to do it in dirt street stocks at places like USA. What do you think of that?
Yeah, it's interesting. The only other time I think we've really had a track in the NMNTS where we really had to shift like that, at least with my experience, was back at Myrtle Beach, and that is just so bumpy that you had to slow down so much that it made sense here. The big thing you're looking out for here, though, is I do believe these cars have locked rear axles, so that means that both wheels, no matter what, will be going the same speed at the same time. So it's an easy way to send a car around with the banking like that if you shift it or you downshift and you go into a higher RPM that'll spin the wheels. So you kind of have to be careful with it, but it seems like they're making it work as we get ready to go green.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting to hear these guys downshifting. We'll try and listen for it more, actually, on this restart. We're going to go on board this time with defending champion Terry Mason once these guys get restarted. Green flag back in the air. Tyler Justice on the loud pedal and pulling away. Mike Bruno actually going to try and file into the inside behind, or underneath, Michael Redding, but they'll actually go single file coming out of turn 2, and now we'll go on board on the number 75.
Just a little quick note here, the 82 of Daniel Hauser was disqualified. He did lift his car with the jack before lap 75. He reached out to race control, told him about it, and his night is done for tonight. Right
well,
now,
the 43
big
time collects it, though.
He's able to save it. Wow, great save.
So Kyle Willis with the catch further back. We'll try and actually get a replay on it real quick. It's going to be tough. Let me just try and get you guys a replay of this. I believe this is right off of the restart, pretty much. And you'll see the 52, or not the 52, sorry, the 43. I don't know where I got 52 from, but the 43, the Planet Fitness machine, the bright yellow and purple car in the center of your screen, I believe will have a bit of a moment here out of turn 2, I think it was, and actually caution's out. So we're first seeing where Kyle Willis almost went for a big wreck. And what was this caution for?
It was on the 77, drifting up in turns 1 and 2, collecting the 51 of Bradley Wilson.
So a terrible night, really, for Bradley Wilson. Goes from awful to somehow worse, as looks like he will end up getting taken out in this one. And yeah, it just, I think Kenny Yance was trying to go for a big move into turn 1. I don't think it was anything intentional, but he did definitely end up getting right into the 51 of Bradley Wilson. We'll go back and get another look at this. This is actually going to the lap prior, and so we'll watch everything leading up to this big moment for the 77 and the 51. And yeah, just watch from here. Again, nothing intentional, just a bit of a big move out of the 77 ended up getting him into the 51 of Bradley Wilson. And you see he goes around into the wall pretty hard. So again, an awful night goes somehow worse for the number 51 driver of Bradley Wilson. We'll try and get a talk with him at some point. Don't want to poke the bear just yet. I think that might be a little bit of a bad idea. But did you guys see anyone else that would be out of the race that we can get a talk with?
Right now, out of the race would be Jared Beasley. It looks like he disconnected from the lobby. Another one would be Corey Walters. Not the best nights for some of these guys right now. Some of the evil motorsports right now.
But, on the other hand, you've got 3 of them up front in the top 3. So,
this is very true.
You know, while a couple of these guys may be out of the race, you've also got the top 3 all Evil Outlaw Motorsports drivers just kind of running the show. And I do want to go back to the 82 real quick. Daniel Hauser, you mentioned he has been disqualified from the event. That's great sportsmanship on his part for admitting to race control that he had the issue where the jack came up. But by NMNTS Pit Stop TV Super Series rules, can't do that. Once the jack comes up, if it is any other time than the caution that comes out at lap 75 or what race control may deem to be the caution that will serve as the halfway break, you are to be disqualified. So you cannot even bring the jack up because, you know, being the sim, it's hard to actually prove whether or not tires were put on or taken off or whatever. So it's just a measure taken by the NMNTS that is a automatic disqualification. But great sportsmanship, sorry, by him to admit it, at least how you made it sound, Zach, to race control.
Yeah, he approached race control, said, you know, go ahead and take me out of the race. I jacked it up, and, you know, race control thanked him for his honesty and, you know, apologized, obviously. You know, it's not something easy to do to disqualify somebody after being honest about it. But as we come to the green flag now, Tyler Justice gets a good jump on Michael Redding. Looks like Mike Bruno will try to file in behind Tyler. He'll get right behind Aiden Young, challenging him on the high side now.
Yeah, we're going on board here with Mike Bruno as he tries to keep that third position from Aiden Young. Looks like he'll clear him out of turn 4 as he's trying to follow the 2 actually to go around the 7. Michael Redding now working the top side.
Yeah, Michael Redding got a great launch out of turns 4 there. He just nosed in front of Tyler, I believe, to lead that lap. And he's starting to get that high line to work a little bit. Almost in the wall, has to slow up. This will get the advantage back down to the low line. Tyler Justice will reclaim first. Now Mike Bruno challenging him for second down on the low side.
Yeah, Mike Bruno now making the bottom side work at that number 19. Brennan, it seems like the shift is actually going towards the bottom side now. Michael Redding in the wall hard at turn 4, like you mentioned there, Zach. Brennan, what do you think is the way to go at this point?
I don't know. I still think this maybe the guys are pushing the tires a little bit more here. That's why Bruno's sticking lower. I think you can get a little bit better drive off, a little more tire wear though with it. But I think that's just what we have going on here. The middle line still seems to be kind of good if you want a little bit less wear on them though, so you can hang in there.
We saw a big moment a lap ago out of the 36 and the 26, I believe it was. Joe Prachette and Kelsey Rogers, respectfully. They figured it out. Aiden Young gets by the both of them to get back into 4th position. Now Mike Bruno through to 2nd. That moves Michael Redding to 3rd, Zach.
Yeah, and when you're on the high side, it really forces the bottom line's hand. They can't really get a good exit out of the corner, and it's so tight in these cars, especially at this track. There's really one line here. So when you're trying to get a good run out of the corners, the bottom line wants to fade up coming out of the corner, and it could tag you. So really, if you want to be on the high side, you got to make sure you know that the guy on the bottom line is either going to pass you or able to stick their line. So really a lot of confidence in most of these guys right now to try to put it on the high line and pass these guys on the high side.
Further back in the field right now, Jason Alexander tailing the back end of the number 13,
Aiden
Young is around. It doesn't look like he's going to have too much damage. Terry Mason in the 43 around.
Big moments further forward, actually. I was trying to go to the back, and Clayton Kurtz and others are going to let these guys go by. Actually, Clayton Kurtz backs up into the 818. So we'll get a replay on all of this. A lot to go around. All kinds of action here. As, again, I believe this started with Aiden Young, like you guys called out quite loudly. Yeah, you see him get a little bit of a tap action. We'll go back further so we can show the move here. I believe it was the 26, the 36 that got into Aiden Young into turn 3. We'll see here. Actually, I think it's going to be the next time around. So sit tight for just a moment. Yeah, it's going to be Aiden Young getting a tap from behind. Not this time, but actually this upcoming time into turn 3 we should have it. And it was Kelsey Rogers barely into the left rear of Aiden Young. Spins that number 9 Dodge Challenger around. He spins it back up to the top side to avoid damage to his car. Then you see Terry Mason was slowing down actually to avoid the incident. And he got tagged by the 43 of Kyle Willis. We'll get a replay on that as well. So you'll see Terry Mason and Kyle Willis coming up on the incident in turns 3 and 4, and just the chain reaction there. Kenny Theonsa actually got into the 43 as well. And then further back, you saw Clayton Kurtz, and we'll just pull up the replay and let it speak for itself here in a moment.
Race control disqualifying the 818 there.
Also disqualifying the 8 car of Clayton Kurtz.
So it looks like there may be some more to watch here. You see the 8 back up into the 818. And we'll give it a minute because I think there may be something after this possibly. So we'll stay on the 8. We're not going to go away. And we're going to see if there was anything else. Actually, we'll switch to the 818 for a moment and see if there was any retaliation here. Let's see if I can track the 818 back down in my little list here. There he is. I'm not sure if there was anything else after that, but the disqualification on the 818 could have been for not checking up. But we'll see what happens here. Just want to make sure we cover everything.
He's
No,
going to keep...
there was anything else.
Yeah, I don't believe so. He's going to keep trying to roll around, but obviously he's not going to be scored for the rest of the night, so...
Yeah, once race control calls an incident, they call it, and it's final. So we'll see what happens there. But back up to the front, these guys are going to be coming to the restart. And Tyler Justice in control once more. Mike Bruno to his outside this time, first time of the night. And out of turn number 4, Tyler Justice back on the loud pedal. Michael Redding caught sleeping a little bit, but that's going to allow his teammate to get in line ahead of him. Joe Pritchett now coming around the top side.
And guys, going back to disqualification of Derek Robinson and Clayton Kurtz, they did waive the disqualification on Derek Robinson. He is back to legitimate racing now. The only disqualification that they're keeping tabs on right now would be the 8 of Clayton Kurtz.
So it is unfortunate for Clayton Kurtz, but we'll just leave it there. You saw the replay, and we'll let you guys get your opinions from that. We don't want to get into anything too heavily. But right now you're watching the battle with the number 2 of Michael Redding and the number 26 of Joe Pritchett, and some really close racing here actually between the BA Graphics Toyota and the Swamp Dust Seasoning Toyota, as now Joe Pritchett going to make the move into turn 3.
And Joe Pritchett's really one of the favorites when it comes to these cars. I've raced against him before. I've gone toe-to-toe with him before, and he really does know how to drive these cars. He really does know how to really pitch them in, make sure the tires stick, really save the tires, and he's honestly one of the favorites every week coming into this race. Obviously, he's showing it now. He's slowly but surely is bringing his way up to the front. He had to work a little bit, but now he's battling Michael Redding for 3rd right now.
Yeah, and a checkup actually right behind him. David Heiza with him. A big moment there right in front of Kelsey Rogers, the number 36, trying to get to the inside. He'll get there. I'm not sure if he can make the move, though, Brennan.
Yeah, not quite. He's going to let him slip here through 1 and 2, see if he can make a drive off of him for 3 and 4 here as we head down the back stretch. You're right on his bumper, going to put it on the inside. And he lifted just a little early, take the corner. Yeah, not going to have him yet. I think Dave's going to start pulling away here a little bit. Yep.
Yeah, David Heiza really defending that position well. And, not blocking him or really even pinching him too bad, but definitely taking the 36's line away. And actually, here comes Kelsey Rogers to the top side this time, seeing if he can make a move. Right behind these guys, a battle between Jason Burgess and Alan Westman starting to heat up. This would be for the 7th position. Now Kyle Willis starting to catch up to these guys. Soon after that will be Terry Mason.
Yeah, and going back to Alan Westman and Jason Burgess, these guys are really battling, swapping lanes, really going at each other. It looks like Alan Westman, for now, has bested Jason Burgess for just a little while. Jason Burgess really does know how to drive these cars. He's just been caught up in a lot of bad luck wrecks, falling back here a little bit to Alan Westman. But look for Jason Burgess, honestly, to be one of the drivers coming up right here towards the end of this run and the end of the race.
Yeah, we saw a bit of a slide out of him out of turn 4 right there. You saw him go all the way down to the bottom side of the track and then come back up. I think he just got a little bit loose out of turn 4 and ended up going to the bottom side trying to catch it. But now he's actually backed up into the wrath of Kyle Willis and Terry Mason. Now here comes Aiden Young.
Trying to recover from that last caution. Aiden Young trying to get back up to the front. He hasn't really stormed up through the front, but then again, these restarts and this track is extremely narrow. Get as much as you can before everything gets straightened out. Aiden Young trying to get his way back up there after that little bit of contact there between him and the 36 of Kelsey Rogers.
Further back, some guys that are just trying to ride around. Joseph Andujar, Kenneth Yance, Jesse Mason, the number 29, center of your screen. Kenny Yance, the other Yance, as well as Gordon Larson
the 26
Jr.
big time lose. They did recover, though.
So you got the 00 of Gordon Larson Jr. as these guys start to heat it up Actually, yeah, good time to go to the front, actually. These guys are coming to the halfway break in just about 3 laps now, as Tyler Justice crosses the start-finish line to take lap 73 of 150. And again, the halfway break will fly at lap 75 of 150. So these guys in the last couple of laps of green flag racing before they get some new tires on these cars. And Tyler Justice has just entered his own zip code, guys.
It's something he tends to do in a lot of races. So
a lot of races.
Good to see. He's kind of got his mojo back. He, a little bit in the off-season, had some struggles in a couple of races, so he's figured out what he's got going on for him again.
Yeah, but I think the race in the offseason that was really indicative, actually there were 2 of them that were really indicative of Tyler Justice, and I guess just his theme in the NMNTS, as caution should fly this time by the start-finish line, were the offseason Cup race at Texas and the offseason late model race at Phoenix. I think those 2 races were really indicative of how he races and how good he is, and just how he can really put on a clinic, kind of like Kevin Harvick in Atlanta today. He does put on a clinic. It's the only way to describe it, really. He just goes out there and leads as much as he can, and that's often a lot.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He really does know when he finds a line, he knows how to really exploit it and really put it to his best interest for him. He really knows how to use it. But as we do come to this caution, we're gonna see these guys put on 4 fresh new Desert Eagles. Right, Desert Eagles? I believe that's the right term. Yeah, 4 Mr. Feelgoods. Why not?
Desert Eagles. That's a new one.
Desert Eagles.
Yeah.
That's a new one.
I want to say that's a gun, but I might have. Okay, so yeah, I mispronounced.
Yeah, so how about we're gonna put on some 4 Hoosiers here and get back at it.
Yeah, they're not even Goodyear Eagles. They are Hoosiers.
I am sorry.
That was new. That's one I hadn't heard before for tires, but sure, we'll go with it. And actually, let's bring up your leader after the first half of action here at New Smyrna. That's going to be Tyler Justice and Brendan.
Bruno beats him out the pit. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, actually, Tyler Justice is not the first one out. Michael Redding will actually beat him out as well. But Brendan, I'll give you Tyler Justice to start for this interview.
Ready. All right, Tyler, this is Bruno up here in the PSI booth. You got a copy of this?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Alrighty, well, towards the end of that run here, we saw you, as Andrew mentioned, kind of in your own postal code there. You really checked out there. You finally get a rhythm and really start pull away, or what was going on there for you?
Yeah, once we finally get going and get some good green flag runs, I can get to a rhythm right there, and found a really good line that helps me out a lot, and there's a lot of grip right there. So I'm gonna just keep doing my thing, and hopefully we can get the win.
Yeah, well, the top 3 right now are all affiliated drivers with you. Are you guys working with each other there, or is it just all out between the 3 of you?
Oh yeah, we're definitely working with each other, giving each other some information and whatnot to try to help each other get faster. But yeah, glad to see all the MR guys up here doing well, and maybe one of us can get the win.
Sounds good. Sponsor shout out while we have a little bit of time left here. Anybody you'd like to mention?
Yes, sir. I want to give a big shout out to my sponsor, SimSpec, as always. They're a great partner with me. Been through 1 season already and starting off another one here. So glad to have them on board. And yeah.
Alrighty. Well, congrats on the lead coming to the first half, and hopefully we can see you possibly in a victory lane here at the end as well.
All right. I appreciate it, Brendan.
Yep. Thank you.
And that was Tyler Justice, your current, or well, he's not your current leader anymore, but he was the leader at the halfway break. And I messed up. I did forget to bring up the big Discount Shop Towels logo once more down the pit lane. But Discount Shop Towels, again, a big sponsor of the NMNTS, particularly sponsoring the pit lane here in the PSI TV Super Series. So just wanted to give them their proper shout out. It's not through pit lane, unfortunately. I did forget. It's been a bit of an interesting transition back into the regular rhythm of things, but just wanted to give them their exposure that they pay for. So again, thanks to them for really fronting quite a few costs here for the NMNTS as we come to the restart. Again, that's discountshoptowels.com. And you can check them out right after this race. But for now, it's going to be Mike Bruno and Michael Redding coming to the restart. Brennan, it's your call.
Alrighty, pace car pulls in. And Bruno right away. Michael Redding actually with a better jump to the high side. Didn't quite get him cleared, but good jump from him. He's going to assume the lead here. Coming on the back stretch. Bruno a little bit loose quad coming up. And Redding's our leader. We have the 26 of Joe Perchette battling with the 19 on the outside here. Tyler Justice is going to bring it up high here as well, I think, here.
Yeah, and Joe Perchette finally stretching his legs. Sorry to cut you off there, but I wanted to talk about that. Actually, now he's in the fence hard. They get it straight. Yeah, they get it straightened out just barely, but some front end damage to the 7. Oh, Jason Burgess around. David Heise around.
And the 5 gets into the 23. Those guys are teammates. The 23, Jason Burgess. The 5 of Jason Alexander tries to stop, just gets into the front end. What happened there, Andrew?
You know, it just looked like a bit of a chain reaction out of turn 4 between, I think, the 36 and the 23. We'll see exactly what happens here, but this all starts with Jason Burgess and the number 23, Dodge Hemi, really. And yeah, Kelsey Rogers just barely into the left rear. Then you see the stack up behind. Terry Mason got into the 7-11 of David Heise, and then the 5. I don't know what happened with Jason Alexander, but then you see him spin to the inside.
Here, looked like he might have. It looked like he just got tagged by the 72 trying to slow up. Both of them trying to slow up. Just 72 of Kenneth Yance had a little bit of too much momentum. Tagged the back end of the 5, and it sent the 5 down towards the 23.
Yeah, and that's really unfortunate, actually, because you can see there, leading up to that incident there, for Jason Alexander, he had no damage to that car. Through these first 80-some laps, he had kept that car completely clean, no damage whatsoever, and then just a small bump in the right rear gets him into some decent damages. Not too bad, actually. He'll be fine. I think it's just sheet metal on that car that's damaged, but still, it's really unfortunate to see a clean car, but a clean car just get some damage there so late in the race after he did such a great job of just keeping that car in one piece, keeping it out of wrecks, and it looks like he may actually opt to keep out there on the track. And then a big moment actually further up in the pacing here. I'm not sure what happened, but these guys will get it sorted out. And further up, Michael Redding is your leader. And guys, what a race so far. Aiden Young now actually into the top 5 again. Man, this thing is just taking so many turns. Literally.
Go ahead, Brendan.
Oh, I didn't really have. Let's just
all right. I thought you did, but yeah, like you were saying, Andrew, this thing has taken a lot of turns. Now it's going to be interesting to see, though. I kind of want to see how Tyler Justice. He did check out on that very first run, that whole first stint, but now he's behind cars. Now he has to slow up, not really run his line, but line to get around these cars in front of him. Now it's going to be interesting to see how the 7 can get around these guys, guys like Joe Perchette, Mike Bruno, and Michael Redding now, and see if he's able to do it really without hurting his tires. I don't think these guys can come in and get another set. I believe they're stuck with these ones all the way till the end now. So we're gonna have to see what he does. And speaking of Tyler Justice, right behind him, also was involved in the caution to Aiden Young as we get lined up 2 by 2.
Yeah, these other tires these guys will have for the rest of the race, and I just want to showcase the damage there for the 26. But this is what they've got the rest of the race. And to answer Brandon Stokes out in the chat on Facebook, this is a fixed series. These guys can only adjust the steering boxes in their cars, so that includes the steering ratio and the steering offset along with the brake bias. Actually, I'm not sure they can even mess with the brake bias. These guys can do the restart. Bias. So Michael Redding will pull away. He's on the loud pedal in the BA Graphics machine. He'll get the lead into turn 1. Actually, Mike Bruno starting to fight back. You see Aiden Young taking the top line away from Kelsey Rogers rather aggressively. And now Michael Redding in a drag race with Mike Bruno into turns 3 and 4. Mike Bruno has the better line, really, I think, off the top side. He gets the momentum out of turn 4. He'll take the lead.
Tyler getting ready to clear the 2 there if the corner didn't come up so quickly. And he does get in there.
Tyler Redding into the ball. Michael Redding around.
The 2 of Michael Redding with a bunch of damage to the right side now. No caution comes out for the Alabama driver, or Alabama. Wow, he's gonna hate me. Arkansas driver, he's gonna hate me after that one. I spoke too fast. I was thinking Batesville, and that's where I got the B from. But no, the Arkansas driver, sorry, gets turned around. We'll go back and check the replay out. Then we'll answer a couple of questions in the chat. And yeah, he barely got swiped actually by Joe Pritchett. And again, like Zach just said, a caution falls on the speedway. I think that's going to happen, yeah, with the 818 and the 13 of Joseph Andujar. So we'll go back and get a replay on this Millennium Aviation machine of Joseph Andujar.
It looked like it started with the 5, yeah, with the 13. It started with the 13 and the 5 getting into each other in the 818, trying to stop to make sure he doesn't get involved in that. But it does start with Jason Alexander and the 13 of Joseph Andujar. Yeah,
just a really small tap to the 5 from the 13. Ended up just causing that big wreck right there. You saw Jason Bird just pile into the back of the 13 as well, just nowhere to go that time. And, you know, I talked about earlier, kind of the criticism of these guys checking up or not checking up. That time, there's nothing Jason Burgess could have done, and he just kind of piled right into the 13. He had nowhere to go. He really had nowhere to go that time.
No, it was either stop or get clobbered from the front and behind, or just try to minimize your damages, minimize everything that's going on, and just get into the back of the 13. Like you're saying, he had nowhere to go, nothing to do. It was really a lose-lose situation for him.
Yeah, and I want to, just real quick, before derailing any other trains of our talking here, in the Facebook chat, we've got a couple of questions, or actually a statement and a question. Marc-Andre Pepin Berube? I hope that's not totally butchering it. I think it's kind of close, but Marc-Andre, at the very least, I know is right. He was commenting saying there's a lot of cautions, and yeah, I want to bring back up the start of the show when I mentioned that's the kind of thing that happens at New Smyrna. These are really big cars, really heavy cars around a very, very small and very bumpy and very flat track. So you put 25 of them on the same speedway and this happens. It's just the nature of it, but we're seeing that get better. And it's only going to get better throughout the season. Jake Jordan asking what this is played on. This is iRacing.com, like you can actually have it covered up. But this is iRacing.com, motorsport simulation. And you can just go to iRacing.com and get all the info you need on it, really. You can get the hardware requirements. I think there might be a section for what you need on your computer as well. Really, you download it, you buy your membership, and you buy cars and tracks, and then from there, if you have a wheel and everything else, it's pretty much plug and play after that. You go into races, you go into practice sessions, and it's pretty straightforward, but it's a really cool thing to invest in, and I think it's really worth it. It's pretty much as close as you can get to the car for the average person. So if you can't actually go out there and race every weekend, this might be the way you want to go if you're a big-time race fan, because it's pretty much as close as you can get without actually getting on the racetrack. So I suggest getting into it. Obviously, we've been in it for a while, and that's why we do this. But we are getting ready for the restart now, and Zach, I'll let you call this one.
Alrighty, well, Mike Bruno's going to be on the bottom of Tyler Justice. Earlier in this race, we saw Tyler Justice take to the outside, pass Michael Redding on the outside, and was able to keep the lead through the rest of the race. So we're going to see here if Mike T. Bruno is able to outlast Tyler Justice here with Joe Pritchett hot on his tail, and Aiden Young there as well. As the pace car takes a hard left here, Joe Pritchett right on him. Mike Bruno will take off. Tyler Justice launches with him, but Mike Bruno gets a better shot into the first corner. As Tyler Justice is able to stick with him, coming out of the corner, almost clips the wall. Tyler
Justice, and a big wreck behind.
Going into 3, and I see that.
No caution
like
yet.
Michael Redding's in it.
Yeah, Michael Redding, Gordon Larson Jr., and Derek Robinson get caught up. We'll try and get a replay now on that. There's no caution for it. So we'll go further back and check out what happens. But this was right off the restart. You'll see I believe it starts with the 00 and the 2 possibly, or I think actually the 00 might get turned around by someone else. But you saw some activity on this restart, and you'll see something happens here with the 2 of Michael Redding. He gets into the wall, then Jesse Mason. These guys are 3 wide, and just, a racing deal there where Gordon Larson Jr. and Jesse Mason made contact. It sends the 00 around, unfortunately. The 29 does continue on, and the 818 just stops to avoid it. And now 49 laps to go, guys. Your leader is Tyler Justice once again.
Hayden Young.
Tyler, oh, go ahead.
That's the Hayden Young and Joe Pritchett battling it out for 3rd place right now.
It's a funny thing how we always tend to stay silent for so long when it's just awkward, and then start talking at the same time.
Yeah.
It's just, I love how that works out sometimes. But Aiden Young making a move into turn 3, trying to get underneath the 26. Almost contact made. That was a close one. We'll go on board with the New England. I forget if he's in New Hampshire or somewhere else, but yeah, I know he's out of New England there. Aiden Young. That was a long spiel for something so small. But anyways, we'll go on board with the number 9 now as he tries to follow the Swamp Dust Seasoning and Voodoo Spell number 26 around New Smyrna. And again, contact almost made a couple laps ago. This battle's starting to heat up, guys.
It really is. It looks like Aiden Young has a faster car, faster line, and he's right there on the back bumper of Joe Pritchett. Just Joe Pritchett has the preferred line, the preferred middle to inside line, and it's really taking away everything that Aiden needs to get around him. And because of this, it's slowing down Aiden. It's also enabling the 36 of Kelsey Rogers and the 17 of Alan Westman to catch him.
Yeah, and that actually gives me a good segue into the story of Kelsey Rogers, a brand new driver coming from NASCAR Heat Evolution and NASCAR Heat 2 on the Xbox. I mean, that game is nothing compared to this. It really isn't. You might have the wheel and whatnot, but it's completely different compared to this. And it's a big transition, I know, for Kelsey to come over to iRacing and then go back sometimes. And, just trying to learn the ropes here. Kelsey Rogers doing a great job right now in the Firehouse Subs number 36. And really just putting on a pretty good performance here in his, I guess, start with the NMNTS Racing Series, Brennan.
Yeah, you mentioned it and said exactly how I would in the Heat and Evolution are both games, whereas this is, coined as a simulation, and as we mentioned earlier, it's about as close as you can get. So there's definitely a lot more steeper of a learning curve to these. Obviously, the games that make them a little more user-friendly, so everyone can enjoy themselves. Where this is really purpose-built on racing and trying to be better at racing, not really fun for everyone. Obviously, there's a steep learning curve, as you mentioned.
Yeah, and Zach and I both came from that kind of deal where we were on the NASCAR video games of old, by ETX. So, think NASCAR 14, NASCAR 15, NASCAR, the game inside line. We came from that kind of atmosphere over to iRacing, and while Zach did a little bit before I did, it was really steep learning curve just to get used to everything. It's totally different to come from something where you play with a little gamepad or a controller, and to come into this, it's crazy. And I know even you start out sometimes from very humble beginnings on iRacing, as we see almost contact made from the 43 of Kyle Willis to the 72 of Ken Yance, but just sometimes you're playing with a lap in your wheel, or a wheel in your lap at first. Really humble beginnings, maybe not even have a shifter, or just shifting with buttons or something. You start out small and you get bigger, and I think that's what Kelsey Rogers is going through right now, kind of the growing pains, but he's doing it great so far. I mean, in 5th right now, and he has some opportunities moving forward into 2019 as possibly an NMNTS SimSpec Championship Series driver on Monday nights. I know he's in talks with DCI over a driver development program as he makes the move under Aiden Young, trying to get to 4th place. I think Kelsey Rogers could be going somewhere, guys.
Oh, I absolutely agree with you. Just from what he's shown tonight, we were able to talk with him, I believe, a little bit last week, and he said, there's such a learning curve, and it's really hard to come from something like a console into something like this. I believe it was in this race last week. It was in this series last week. He said it really hard for him to come from controller to something like this, and it really is, because this league as well came from a console controllers. As he gets a little loose coming out of 4, he's going to lose ground to Aiden. This league coming out of console into iRacing like this, it had its growing pains as well, but now this league is just absolutely flourished into what it is today. And yeah, there's going to be a learning curve, but look for Kelsey Rogers to be something this year in 2018.
Definitely. It's just cool to see more people get into iRacing and do well at it. Not necessarily be, the next top dog, but just do well enough to get some TV time like we're giving him now. And it's just cool to see more and more guys come over. I know Tyler Justice has his roots in the old NASCAR games as well as Zach and I. And as Zach mentioned, the NMNTS Racing Series as a whole came from over there. And I think Mike Bruno even used to race with Tyler over on console. So it's, you know, as far as virtual gaming or virtual racing goes, it's cool to reconnect with that a little bit. But at the same time, it's just, it really is so much better to be on iRacing, I think, if you're wanting a true simulation than those NASCAR games that you don't want to go back too much, because, you know, we're seeing that with the 36 to Kelsey Rogers, it's a steep learning curve. You go back for even a 5-lap Daytona race or something, and it's completely different. And then you try and come back over to here where it's a lot more intensive, I guess, and it's just, it's so much different. The learning curve going back and forth has to be tough to deal with. I know it was tough for me at first because I'd go back and just the FOV would have me totally unsettled. Something as small as the field of view. So, anyways, we've been rambling on about video games for a while. Let's get back to the action here. Tyler Justice is your leader with just under 30 to go, Brennan.
Yeah, he's done his thing here. He's checked out to about a 2.5-second lead from Mike Bruno there. Bruno just past navigating a bit of a group of some lap traffic there, right behind him. So see if they can maybe work some ground up here. They have a couple guys ahead of them to pass still, though.
Yeah, and Joe Burchett's going to have his opportunity here coming real quick to pass that number 19. He's going to have to act on it soon, because we'll go on board with the guy right now. And you see guys like Jason Alexander or Jason Burgess, a couple of teammates of Mike Bruno, but still really good picks for Joe Burchett to try and use. And he's got to try and figure something out here. I know it's going to be hard considering these guys are teammates of Mike, but he's got to try something. And almost contact out of 4 there. I think that's what someone was owing about, but yeah, that was pretty close.
Yeah, it was really close.
And
very
Siri
close.
thinks I'm talking to her. Siri, go away.
They're both going to get through here. No position change. Joe Burchett still right on his his bumper there.
Yeah,
and really,
this battle
is a huge clump of drivers, really.
Actually, yeah, I just went back to Kelsey Rogers, and a big just group of guys right here is the 9 and the 36 worked their way through, as well as Alan Westman. Actually, he's now back in the talks for the top 5. Alan Westman currently in 6th, moving his way up. He gets around David Heiza, and I believe, yeah, he just worked around Gordon Larson before that. So just this big clump of drivers, really, like you said, Zach, and this is chaotic. This is exactly what this series is going to be all year.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Like, just having this huge clump of guys right here really puts a lot on your head and really puts you to focus a lot more on what's going on, focus on the drivers around you and in front of you, focus on your line and how you're getting in. Really, a lot of things going through these drivers' head as they're in this huge clump of drivers.
We only have 20 laps to go. Oh, the 9
Oh!
and 23 can make some contact.
They save it. They do save it, and they keep going straight.
And I can tell you, there's a little bit of history between those two guys. You know, actually, contact again. This time,
and this time
it's big.
It's
It's big. Terry Mason involved, and you saw Jason Burgess, of course, that's number 23. He got turned around by Alan Westman. But I just want to mention, you know, these guys, the series, or the league, has a Thursday night series, and actually, you saw the 23 really pinching the 9, and that's not exactly, what's the word? I guess the right etiquette to use as a lap car. And then you saw him right on the door of the 17, and you know, it's something a lot of guys do because they're trying to fight for a position as well. But it's not always courteous to the lead lap cars. So you see these kinds of run-ins, and it happens all the time. Unfortunately, it happened here and caught up Jason Alexander and Joseph Andujar and Terry Mason. So it ended up being a lot bigger than maybe it really should have been. But unfortunately, you see some good cars with some more damage. But it happens on these short tracks. It's part of I guess, the name of the game. It happens. So. But yeah, there's some history between Aiden Young and Jason Burgess at the very least. I know they got together this past Thursday at Atlanta in the feeder series, and there were some words exchanged, but they moved on, and You know, it's just something to keep in mind possibly. But then again, you saw him turn around and you know, he was racing the 17 of Alan Westman as well. So it may not have been anything in particular with Aiden Young, but it's worth mentioning, especially as we move forward on some short tracks coming up. I know the NMNTS SimSpec Championship Series is going to be at places like Bristol and Richmond and Martinsville, especially here soon. Throw in Myrtle Beach as well.
Yeah, these guys really do love their short tracks, man. They really love them.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's interesting to see the Europeans over in the Virtual Oval Championship be so excited about short tracks. Well, that's nothing compared to this. These guys, the short tracks is everything to this group of drivers, especially dirt, with a select few of these guys. Michael Redding comes to mind. Brennan Eltoff as well, actually. It comes to mind there. And Bradley Wilson even. But these guys, they love their short tracks, and there's a whole bunch coming up. So, you know, maybe a little bit of contact here or a little bit of contact Thursday could play into effect later on when we hit the smaller tracks, even in the bigger series. So it's something to watch for. It may not have been anything that time, but it certainly could play into effect later on in the season, Zach.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's been said that drivers have the mind of an elephant or the memory of an elephant. They don't forget anything. And when you're in the heat of the race like this, you really don't. You really don't forget anything. And it's really up to you to act on it. And honestly, about 99% of the drivers don't act on it, but they do keep it in the back of their head and they use it when it's most needed. But as we are 2x2 now, Tyler Justice will be on the inside of Mike Bruno. It's going to be interesting to see if Mike Bruno can try to get in front of Tyler with almost less than 15 laps to go, almost less than 10. Pace car pulls in as we get ready to go green. Tyler Justice will take off, leaving everyone in the dust, including Mike Bruno. Tyler Justice will already have the advantage. Now it's going to be a battle for
a car hard in the wall. Sorry, Zach. A car really hard in both walls there. Kenny Yance, huge contact. You see him in the center of your, or bottom right of your screen. He's still parked. I'm not sure what he's...
Oh, he's in turn one.
Yeah.
The leaders are coming.
Oh, and he gets... Oh, jeez. Jeez.
Clobbered there.
Oh, no.
I think there might be something issued down on that one for just sitting in the...
Oh, no.
Yeah, but I think he was trying to get it I think he was trying to escape, sorry. I think there was an issue with him trying to escape off the track. I don't think that was intentional because I saw him trying to get going. Just a ton of contact from Alan Westman, set him into the wall hard, and then back into the outside wall. Alan Westman also got a piece of it. And then you'll just see he's trying to get going. I don't know what happens here. Something was going on. The 77 was trying to get it sorted out, and just he couldn't. And then Kyle Willis came through and... Yeah, the rest of the field, they had nowhere to go.
Yeah, incident there's going to end his night.
It might also end Michael Redding's night as well if Michael's not able to... It looks like he fires off, but wow. We can't really put too much blame on the 77. He is a relatively new driver as well in iRacing and in this league. He's maybe trying to get off the track, panicking a little bit, maybe pressed a few wrong buttons, and it brought up a few things. Can't really put too much blame on him. It's just... terrible circumstance for most of these drivers going into turn one with him sitting in the middle of it like that.
Yeah, there's just nothing for him to do, unfortunately, when it comes to Kyle Willis or even Michael Redding. There was just nothing they could have done there. And back to Kenny Yance. Just, I think he was just trying to either get going, get refired, or escape off the track. And really, I wouldn't even put too much blame on him. He might have thought the caution was out. Sometimes you panic in your mind, you get something wrong. He might have thought the caution was out on the speedway already, and quite frankly, the caution should have been out. You know, the admin here in the NMNTS generally doesn't act on that because they've got so much else going on, making sure the restart is clean, and so they might have been reviewing something else, didn't have the chance. There's only one admin, that's Robbie Buckner, yeah. There's only one of him. Not two or not three, whatever, so it's hard for him to keep track of all that kind of thing, all those kinds of things. That's why he probably wasn't able to throw the caution there, but I mean, reasonably speaking, even in NASCAR, I know people like to make fun of NASCAR for not throwing cautions for certain things and throwing cautions for others, but that would have been a caution. And that one, that should have been a caution, definitely, because the car was stopped in the middle of the track. I'm not sure what was going on there, but even iRacing should have registered that sooner.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And like so many variables could have been played into what was going through the 77 right there. I mean, like you said, he could have been panicking. He might have pressed a few wrong things. He might have been trying to get it refired. And iRacing, if your car's moving, it won't let you reset anything. It won't let you escape off the track until you're sit still. So maybe he was trying to get it refired. It moved a little bit to where he couldn't escape. He was trying to get it refired and it wouldn't. He was trying to get it refired too long. You know, so many different variables could have played in there, but I mean, like I said, just terrible circumstance for some of the drivers that got caught up in that. We can't really place too much on the 77 of Kenny Jans, but just terrible circumstance for the drivers involved.
But coming to the green flag, Tyler Justice off and away once again. Just 7 laps to go now, guys. Things have winded down, but yeah, I mean, it really is a terrible circumstance with the 77. Just wanted to get back to the green flag since we're getting down to the nitty-gritty, guys. Only 5 laps to go here in a couple of circuits around New Smyrna. And a little bit of action further back with Jesse Mason. They get it sorted out. Tyler Justice now leads the field to 6 to go. And it's up to Mike Bruno and Joe Bichette to get up there and try and make something happen. That 26 looks hungry.
And I don't think the 26 really has, well, he probably has the win in mind. The 7's just right there, but he wants that second place. And with them, if they do start battling, that's going to let the 7 get out in front. So I don't know if the 26 has win on the mind right now. Obviously, everyone does, but he has that second place as Mike Bruno in the wall.
And the battle for 4th heating up as well as they'll start to catch these guys battling for 2nd. Kelsey Rogers, Aiden Young battling for 4th and 5th. Further up, like you guys mentioned, Mike Bruno got in the wall a lap ago. Now Joe Bichette working the top side, getting by him actually. Almost has him cleared, but not quite. The 26 almost in front of the 19. Now he is. We'll see if he holds it out of turn 4. Mike Bruno digging back on the bottom side. Now here comes Kelsey Rogers into the mix.
Going to bring the 36 right back in. The 19 slams the door on him. The 36 will continue to look to the outside, however. We got ourselves a battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th right here with about 2 laps to go.
2 laps to go now, Brendan, and these guys have not stopped battling at all. These guys are still in the thick of things for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and even 5th. Aiden Young still in the mix here, Brendan.
Definitely, it's he may be just a little bit far out, but definitely for the battle, you could call it for 2nd here with about 3 cars battling it out. So we have 1 lap to get it settled out here. I think it may, yeah. Bruno has the chance here. I don't know if Kelsey Rogers will have anything for him here. He caught up, and then he's not really kept it with him as we go to 3 and 4.
Tyler Justice will win at New Smyrna Speedway. He puts on 150 laps in the books, and he led quite a lot of them. He'll take 1st place. Joe Bichette will come home in 2nd. Mike Bruno in 3rd. Kelsey Rogers in 4th, and Aiden Young in 5th. So we'll get to talk to our top 3, hopefully. As we definitely have Bruno and Tyler in the team speak. I'll let you guys drag them up as you can. I see Kelsey Rogers, and I do see Joe Bichette. So we'll get to talk to at least the top 3. And if we get the chance, we may bring Kelsey Rogers in. That's going to be tough, though. We'll at least get the top 3. Depending on time, we'll try for Kelsey. But we will take 1 quick break before we get these guys up for interviews. So don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. Stay right here. We'll be right back.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Red Bull GRCs are now available on iRacing. I personally put my blood, sweat, and tears into this thing, developing the cars, the tracks, the dirt, making sure it is authentic as possible, and I really think you guys are going to love it. The best part is that this 600 horsepower Volkswagen Beetle is free to all members. So get signed up now and come race me online.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the new Smyrna Speedway. We have 4 drivers on hand for interviews here tonight. First off is going to be Kelsey Rogers. Kelsey Rogers, this is Andrew Cardinal in the PSI TV booth. Do you have a copy?
Yeah, what's going on?
Well, Kelsey, it's great to finally get to bring you up. We were talking about you quite a bit tonight, and your transition from the console games over into iRacing. Can you tell us a little bit about that before we get going?
Yeah, you know, you'd like to think racing's racing, but it's a whole different level when you come over here and play in iRacing. Just a lot more throttle control and how the track rubbers up. And my big problem is pit road, getting on pit road, but didn't have to do a whole lot of that tonight. So it was more about the driving and just surviving these wrecks.
Yeah, definitely. There's certainly an attrition aspect to it. And, you know, of course, don't want to hate on the NASCAR games too much, but they're definitely arcadey, and you can beat up on the cars there quite a bit more than you can maybe in the Super Late models. And, of course, there's still a limit with everything, but would you agree that there's probably more allowances over there to beat and bang?
Yeah, definitely. You know, you have no damage model or anything like that, but racing's racing. You still have to hold your line, and you know, if you get in with a group of good guys on either the console or iRacing, it's going to be pretty fun. So anybody can just go and pick it up, and you know, the cost is a lot cheaper than iRacing, obviously. So I would recommend it, but yeah, it's a lot different coming over to this.
Well, man, it was great to talk about you quite a bit tonight. You started 6th, finished 4th, didn't get any laps led, but you certainly were in the mix there at the end, and I think that's what mattered. A bright future ahead, I think. And Zach, Brendan, do you guys have anything for him?
Yeah, you know, you were talking about how the transition is just definitely different coming from consoles over here. We had to do it ourselves. You know, we were really impressed with you tonight. You were running a little bit of an unorthodox line coming down towards the end of it to try to get around Mike Bruno. What was the biggest takeaway from tonight trying to get you to go forward? What was the biggest thing that you could take away tonight to help boost your career in the 2018 NMNTS season?
I mean, yeah, the top line really came in tonight. I was kind of surprised nobody was running it throughout the night. It was fast even on fresh tires, but going forward, just got to keep your nose clean. The races are, you know, they're long races, and it's just about staying in the top 5. There's a lot of races this year, and just keeping your nose clean.
Yeah, bud, we hear you. Well, look forward to racing you tomorrow. Before we let you go, do you have anybody you want to thank, shout out, anything?
Nope, I'm pretty new to all this. I just want to thank these guys for letting me come out, and it's fun. You know, it gives me something to do on Saturday night. No sponsors, no anything yet, so it's a good time. Thanks for letting me race.
No problem, bud. Well, if you keep racing the way you did tonight, you'll definitely have a sponsor on that vehicle soon enough. But it was fun watching you race tonight, and we look forward to seeing you in the future.
Hey, thank you guys.
Again, that was Kelsey Rogers, the pilot of the number 36, Firehouse Subs Toyota Camry tonight. Next up, Brendan, I'll let you bring in Mike Bruno, our 3rd place finisher.
Alrighty. Mike, you got a copy with us?
10-4, bud, I got you.
Alrighty, so we were able to hold on to 3rd place tonight. How'd that feel for you?
I feel real good about it, actually. I was hoping, you know, to give something or have a run for Tyler there, but he was just a class of the field tonight, and really just couldn't really hold on to it there at the end. Ended up hitting the wall a little bit and losing a spot there to Joe, but all in all, it was some awesome racing, and then a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. You and Joe definitely had quite the battle there coming to the end. It kind of, I think, slowed you down a little bit from having any chances with Tyler. You think maybe if he wasn't there, you would have had a chance to battle it out with him?
Maybe. It all depends on who got through the lap traffic better, actually. I mean, there was sometimes I really got held up in lap traffic, and other times it seemed to work in my favor. But for the most part, Tyler just was in the zone, and he was just hitting his marks perfectly. And if I'd make one little mistake, it seemed like I'd lose a couple tenths or half a second. So he just, like I said, was the class of the field, and I'll take a third any day of the week.
Yeah, definitely. Well, overall, I think that was a really good run from you tonight. We saw you, I think, just about all the race. You were up towards the front, so you definitely have a lockdown on New Smyrna. So I'll give you opportunity here if you want to shout out any sponsors, anybody that helps you put the show on for you.
Yeah, for sure, bud. I want to thank my sponsors, Silvaga, SimSpec PC. I want to thank Ken Younce, John Barron. I want to thank everybody on my team. It's an awesome team. MR Motorsports, we got Evil Outlaws and Gunslingers there, and thank you guys for what you do.
Alrighty, thank you. We'll get you moved back down and let you celebrate third place tonight.
Thanks, bud.
Thank you.
Again, that was third place finisher Mike Bruno from Evil Outlaw Motorsports. You can see his car on screen now. Zach, whenever you're ready, I'll let you get Joe Burchett, second place finisher tonight.
Alrighty. Joe Burchett, this is Zach up here in the PSI TV booth. You got a copy, bud?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, well, we saw you start a little bit towards the back tonight. Well, started third, and you kind of stayed quiet through that first half of the run. You really put your nose and started to really wheel your way up there. You finished second. First off, how was tonight? How was the car handling? Tell us how you felt tonight went.
I had a malfunction with my wheel there on the start, so I couldn't really ever get off pit road, and or otherwise I would have started in my third starting position. Wasn't the plan to go to the back, but fighting up through the field was a ton of wrecks tonight. Just try to keep the car clean until I could get to that front half of the field again, and just unlucky there. Got a little bit of damage. I think that hindered any progress of trying to race Justice, but had a good battle there with Bruno at the end for second, and just luckily, we made the right move and got to the outside of him after he got into the wall.
Yeah, last week you had a really good run going. I was able to run with you, and just some bad luck just kind of altered your finish last week. Tonight, though, like you were saying, you had a really good run. You were able to get around Mike Bruno. We had a few drivers come in here and tell us that the high side was really starting to come in. Is that what you were feeling as well, or did you feel like the bottom line was just it was too good?
The high side seemed like it was pretty good on the entry, and then on the exit you dive it to the bottom. I really couldn't run up high through the whole corners, or otherwise I just scrubbed too much speed. It felt like it more if I arced the corner going in, it was gave me a great exit.
Alrighty, bud. Well, I believe Andrew has a question for you before we get you to shout out all your sponsors and everybody you got to thank. Andrew?
Yeah, real quick, Joe. I was watching just this quick replay of you guys entering the pits after the race, just to give a real good shot of all these cars for the interviews. But I did notice something, and I wanted to get your opinion on it. The two did make contact with you in the pits. Is there anything to it, do you think?
Don't really know. I think I got into the back of him coming off a 2 or something earlier in the race. Don't really know what happened to his car. It seemed like he stopped coming out of 2, and I just got into the back of him. I thought it was just a racing deal, but if he's not happy about it, we can definitely talk about it later if he wants to.
10-4. We'll just wanted to bring you up and get your opinion on that, since I was watching that, and figured that'd be a good thing to bring up, since you guys will be on short tracks all season in this series, and plenty of short tracks in the Truck Series and the Cup Series, so just want to get your opinion. But with that, is there anyone that you want to give a shout out to tonight for your performance in that number 26 Swamp Dust Seasoning car?
I just want to thank everybody at Swamp Dust Seasoning for allowing me to run this paint and sponsoring me all year. Just want to thank my team, Overtake Motorsports, all the guys for helping me
practice every week for all this, and thank Bradley, Ken, everybody at Monday Night Thunder for putting on the league and the truck league tomorrow night, and thank you guys for coming on doing the broadcast.
No problem, man. We always enjoy it. It'll be fun to watch you tomorrow night from Atlanta in the NMNTS SimSpec Championship Series. Best of luck to you tomorrow night and the rest of 2018.
Thank you.
And again, that was Joe Pritchett in the number 83 tonight. And next up, we've got our winner, Tyler Justice. And let me get switched over to him real quick, and then I'll bring him in. Tyler Justice is Andrew Cardinelli in the PSI TV booth. Do you have a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Well, Tyler, you were my pick to win, and well, you won. Like we talked about at the halfway break, you were in your own zip code for a large part of the night, and that's how you ended the show tonight. How'd you do it?
Well, I went out there and practiced, and really defined a line that I wanted to run most of the race, and it really worked out, and it didn't kill the tires too bad. And it looked like all the other guys were kind of searching around for speed, and I just kind of kept it in one groove and went with it, and it worked out all at the end, and we pulled off the win.
Yeah, you certainly did really good in that number 7 Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Obviously, this is kind of your normal motif in the NMNTS Racing Series, and probably in who knows what else that you run, considering, again, just in your own zip code all night, and that's normal. I think two very indicative races of that throughout the off-season were the Cup Series at Texas and this same series at Phoenix, that you really just showed off your muscle and got out there and showed that you still have it. Obviously, you're the defending champion in the NMNTS SimSpec Championship Series. Do you think you might be able to capture all 3 this year?
One would hope. I mean, we definitely like to do that, but main thing is just to keep your eyes forward and don't look too far ahead, and just stay consistent, and you'll hopefully be there at the end to capitalize on something good.
For sure. Well, real quick, sorry, before we let you go, we saw you get shuffled back after the halfway break. I don't know if you missed your cues or whatever in pit lane, or if it was on your crew or whatever, but you came out, I believe it was 3rd or 4th, and you had to work your way back by your teammates Michael Redding and Mike Bruno, and then you ended up getting back into the lead. Tell us about that whole journey from the halfway break with only half of a race to get back to the front.
Yeah, we came into the pits there, and we had I felt like it was a decent stop. I mean, I didn't miss my box or nothing. I didn't, slow on pit road or anything. We just came out behind my 2 teammates, and they're in 3rd place, and starting on the inside lane for that first restart after that, and it's kind of hard to keep your position because on the restarts, the outside lane was just a whole lot better. You could get runs a lot better on the outside on the restarts, and we fell back one more spot to 4th on that one, and then the caution came right back out, and that gave us the outside lane, and we were able to work our way back up through there, back to the lead.
Now, of course, that whole getting shoveled back a couple of spots was because of the halfway break, and we talked about it quite a bit tonight. You drivers only have that one chance to get tires. You only have the one set. So, do you think that's a good move by the officiating staff to go that direction, or do you think it should be just straight up racing?
I mean, I like it. I mean, it's a lot less stress on the drivers trying to figure out when to pit and what to do, and you don't have people staying out that shouldn't be and taking 2 tires and a bunch of mess going on, which could potentially cause more cautions. So I think it's a really good move, and I like it a lot.
Sounds good, Tyler. Well, thanks for your time. Is there anyone that you want to give a shout out to tonight? Obviously, you got a big win.
Yes, sir. I want to give a big shout out to my sponsor, SimSpec, for being on the car as always. John and Ken, they do a great job with that. And I want to thank all my teammates, and give a shout out to Mike for finishing 3rd on podium tonight. And I want to thank Bradley for the league, and I want to thank you guys in the booth.
Sounds good, man. Well, real quick, Zach, Brennan, you guys got anything for him?
Yeah, just a real quick, every time you started on the high side, you really did get a good launch out of turn 2. Even at the start of the race where the high line wasn't really the greatest to go up there, did you feel something right off of it? Do you think that it could have been something that was worth running, or you just needed to use it for that one time and just got back to the low line?
I don't really know. I feel like it was much better. The high line was much better on the restarts than anything. But because once you got going, I would stay like half a lane, maybe a lane up off the bottom during the runs. But for some reason on the restarts, the bottom lane was just, it was no go. I mean, you had to be on that outside lane to gain a few more positions, or you were going back a little bit. So glad we got in fourth position there and started on the outside that one restart and was able to get back up to the lead. So glad about that, and it all worked out.
Yeah, well, you're in victory lane once again, bud. Good job on that. Real quick, do you have any tips for tomorrow so I can beat you?
No, not really. I mean, it's pretty much it's going to be a crapshoot because it's wide open. You're going to be wide open for a few laps, and that race is just going to be all about saving tires. So we'll see what happens.
Alrighty, bud. Well, you had a good run tonight. You put yourself in victory lane. Before we let you go, you got anybody you want to thank out there?
Yes, sir. I want to thank my sponsor, SimSpec, as always. I want to thank Bradley for the league, and I want to thank all my teammates, and I want to thank you guys in the booth.
All right. Well, I just remembered that Andrew already asked you if you had anyone to thank. That was my apologies for
it's all good. It's
having
all good.
you reiterate it. But bud, you had a good run tonight, and we look to see you next week. And I don't know exactly where we are, but we look forward to seeing you next week.
All right, I appreciate it.
Well, Zach, I'll check on that just for a confirmation, but I believe next week we will be at the Bull Ring at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Again, I'll check that real quick in just a moment. But we are starting the West Coast swing after this week, so we'll be at some rather West Coast-oriented tracks, obviously. With Las Vegas and, I think Irwindale and Phoenix coming up, as well as the Auto Club. And should be a lot of fun going to some different tracks. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. There any closing thoughts from you guys though? Moving on to tomorrow night.
Well, we had a good race tonight. It was a lot of what we expected. A lot of close bumper to bumper action, and a lot of wrecks tonight. But I mean, that's just the product of the racetrack. But look forward to tomorrow night, pretty much.
You got anything for us, Brendan?
Oh, that's Zach pretty much hit it right on the hammer. There is a pretty good one tonight. Some cautions, obviously, but that was kind of indicative of the track. We knew that coming in, and hopefully tomorrow in Atlanta we can have a good race there as well in the trucks. And then Monday night we'll go back with them again and have another one.
Sounds good. And not that I'm without fault when I talk, because I often have many faults when I talk, but he did say hit it right on the hammer, and I like that. That's a fun one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can confirm we will be doing 200 laps at the Bull Ring at Las Vegas next weekend. That'll be next Sunday night, March 4th. And that will be under the lights. Then we'll move on to Phoenix International Raceway, also now known as ISM Raceway. That'll be 100 laps, which is actually going to be a pretty long haul. Finally, after that, we'll complete the West Coast swing in the Pit Stop TV Super Series at Irwindale Speedway. Following that, we'll have Martinsville and Rockingham before an off week going into April. So that gives you kind of an idea of what we've got to expect in this series for the next month or so. Guys, it was a pleasure calling this race alongside you. Hopefully, it all goes smoothly the next 2 nights as well. And this has been PSI TV. Guys, once more, thank you for helping me out. And Zach, I know you'll be in the truck tomorrow night. Will you be in the car on Tuesday as well?
Yes, sir.
Well, darn.
Yeah, register for both Monday and Tuesday, bud.
All right. Well, anyways, it was nice to have you up here tonight, and it was nice to have you running as always, or mostly always as well. And I will say real quick, if you want to get into the scene with the NMNTS or PSI TV, you can just contact PSI TV. We'll set you up with the right people either way. We're looking for sponsors, actually, for PSI TV, and I know the NMNTS is as well. And it's rather cost-effective, so if you've got a company that you're looking to get the name of out in the sim racing world, believe me, it's a worthy investment. I've actually made similar investments myself, so I think it's a good way to go. yeah, rather cost effective. And it's been a pleasure calling this race from New Smyrna tonight. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we will see you tomorrow night from Atlanta Motor Speedway.